Well, welcome to Our Voices, Our Opinion. This is our Money Matters segment, and we're going to talk about whether we should buy or rent a house.
Right.
So we've got several questions from our panelists.
Put us on the spot. Pitch it right on up. That's what you do.
So we were talking earlier about whether you should rent or buy, and believe it or not, online you can find a rent versus buy analysis that will help you in your decision-making process on whether to buy a house or not. For each person, the situation may be different. Some people who are able to afford a house continue to rent because they like the flexibility. Well, I want to live on the north side. I want to live on the south side. Well, I want to get up and leave the city that I live in and move to the next city. You never know when you're going to get that job, and you can just leave and be gone within a month. So you have that flexibility factor. So if you don't want to be stuck to one particular location, that could be a reason to rent versus buy. Me personally, when it comes to buying a house, I'm on my second house now, and from a couple of things, couple standpoints, from a tax perspective, there are deductions for owning a house. So you have your mortgage interest that you're able to deduct, along with a number of other expenses, your property taxes, things such as that, when it comes on the house. Also, you have the option to, if it's your house, you can upgrade, downgrade, whatever you want to that for that location.
You mentioned money and he started rolling. He didn't let us talk yet.
Right here, we had several questions.
Hey, it's my first time and I'm excited. Let's go.
And you brought up valid points, and my thing is, you can go ahead.
Well, the thing we were just talking about is like, how do you know you're financially ready to purchase a home?
And I was saying that sometimes just because you're financially ready, it doesn't mean that you should buy a home, because buying a house and getting the house payment and the insurance set up is a small thing. It's like you get started and then boom, you paying for your house. It's just like paying a rent. But what comes along with this house, taxes and fees and homeowners fees and taking care of the lawn and the roof and plumbing and all of this stuff, a lot of people don't think about that. They think about, oh, can I afford this house? It's in the right neighborhood. It's got 3 bedrooms, enough for my kids.
Right.
And I'm going to buy it. And then all of a sudden, it just starts falling apart.
So you're talking basically about the difference between renting and buying. When you own, not only do you own the home, but you own any problems that come along with it.
Right.
Versus if you're renting,
Right.
then the landlord,
You call the man.
call him up. Come
And
hook me up.
a lot of people don't think
So
about those things.
but is there not an advantage to owning my own home? I mean, because you're right. I mean, if you've got a landlord, then they've got all those, I call and say, hey, I need my gutters are messed up, or this the new roof, or whatever, and that's all theirs. But isn't there an advantage to?
And there is an advantage to owning your own home. Like I said before, when it's yours, you can do as you please. You want to paint the walls pink, purple, brown, you can do that.
Right.
As
Is
far
there a financial benefit?
there is a financial benefit. As I mentioned earlier, you have the ability to write off mortgage interest, property taxes. If you when you file your taxes, if you have home, if you own your home and you have interest in property taxes and it makes sense, you can itemize deduct, or you can standard deduct, and that's one of the benefits. The other benefits is if you own the home, you share in the appreciation. Hopefully, if you buy the right house in the right area, then the value of your home goes up as your mortgage, as you continue to make your payments, and your mortgage balance goes down. Then you are creating equity there.
Right. Well, I mean, there's a big push for us. I'm talking about African Americans, young African American people, to actually go into purchasing a home, simply because of, like you were saying, that there are benefits to that versus renting, because many of us rent it. I mean, many of us rent, and that's just, somebody else is getting the money that yeah. that you're putting into renting a home, and it could be going into making
Something
an
that you
investment
own.
for yourself.
That's correct.
You know, so you can have a home when you retire. You're not paying that rent. You're done. Your home is paid for. You have something to give on to your children and those types of things.
And you bring up a good point because I was listening on a seminar, and we're talking about the difference in wealth accumulation from generation to generation. And what surprised me was that how wealth is passed on from generation to generation, it is usually from owning your own home.
Property.
You have that home. Let's say you bought it with $100,000. You pay it off over 30 years. You go away. You leave it to your kids.
Yeah.
Let's say it's worth $200,000 now. 30,
Right.
40 years. You split that up. They can take their 100, put it on another house to live in a neighborhood they wouldn't be able to afford on their own.
Right.
The higher value houses tend to grow a little bit more. If you look at it just from a percentage perspective, they grow more because 5% on 100,000 is less than 5% on 500,000. And then you have the
Right.
more expensive homes. They tend to be in the better communities,
Right.
so people want to move in, and then you have the appreciation there. And so that's one of the things that we are missing in our community, that wealth accumulation. And so I think we need to think about that
We do.
and how home ownership plays into that. But we need to make sure that we are ready.
And in the
Being ready, meaning what, financially?
We need to be
just
ready
make sure-
financially as far as having our credit scores together. We need to be ready as far as having our down payments together. Although it is, the financial markets have made it so easy to get your home that, I mean, they have 100% financing where you may only pay your closing costs to get into a house. Back in the day when my parents bought their home, I think it was a minimum of probably 20% down. And it's so funny, I looked at, I was taking a real estate finance class and looking at the history. Eons and eons ago, if you owned a house, you paid for cash. And then things started changing. Then you could get financing, but you had to put 50% down.
Wow.
And then it changed some more. Then you had to put 20% down, right? So when I was coming up, it was 20% down, you know. And now, here I am as an adult, and you can get into a house with nothing. I
Wow.
mean, even when the economy turned and we had all these issues, well, it was real estate related because you were having bankers, and I'm a banker myself, but you were having bankers and the capital markets that were allowing mortgages or putting debt on your house that was worth more than your house. So if your house is worth $100,000, you can get a mortgage for $110,000 or $115,000. And the reason was because, and this is not anywhere, but this is a place like California where they were seeing 20% appreciation every year. But obviously that isn't sustainable, and that's where we ran into trouble. So.
Well,
Ooh, you put money on the table. And then he started spitting out logistics.
and we ain't got nothing to do.
I'm just sitting there like, what is he saying? Break it down. But everything you're saying does make sense.
And here's the thing: we need to know. The thing is, the majority of us don't know this.
Right.
You know,
we say
our parents.
we want to pick the certain color house. We
Right,
want to
in a
pick
certain
this
neighborhood, this,
and
that, and
this,
the other.
That's it. And you
Right.
start paying, and that's it.
So I tell you what, I think you need to take us through what we need to do to get ready to purchase homes, because, like you said, that accumulated wealth. You know, God is good. I've never bought a home, but I own a home now because my mother owned it too.
Okay.
So
There
one
you go.
went to my brother and one went to my sister
Wealth
and I.
accumulation.
And you know, and there's still our family home that
There you go.
my parents are still, my father's still living in. You know, so and you're right. Those are things that are passed on. There's security in that. You know, things don't work. At least I got somewhere to put my head. I own
No
a
matter
house.
what.
No matter what. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And there is security in that, especially with the way things are going with retirements and all this kind of stuff. So I do think it's important to know what we need to do and actually make that a goal as young people getting into marriages and or getting careers and different things. You know, make it a goal
Young
to
people,
own
like
your
people
home.
in general. I know people that are our age that are just now buying a home.
I think what she's saying is we need to start talking to them early.
Oh, yeah.
And
Yes.
the key
Yes.
is credit. The key is
Okay.
credit. You need to understand what the credit agencies look at in order to determine what your credit score is, and you need to be aware of that, and you need to be mindful, and you need to, because
That sounds
it's just like a business plan. It's just like a business plan. You don't just start a business, do you? You get a business plan. So you need to know what exactly your challenges are in order to be successful. And your success is making sure your credit score is where it needs to be. And the credit score, I think we talked about this a while ago, but the credit score ranking is, I think the lowest 300 and the highest 850. So hopefully you you want to be towards the top, but
You know, hey.
You do what you can. You do what you can.
but actually this is a
But then you don't know when we're gonna hold that one.
Yeah.
yeah,
it's-
there's a lot of detail, and I think what we're going to do is probably come back next week and talk about the details,
Okay.
because there's lots of details, very important stuff, and I want to make sure that I don't leave anything out. So we will take this up on the next segment.
And we'll be right back.